I'm Julia from Julia Teaching Resources, and thank you for joining me. We're going to talk about structured terms again. I know if you're watching this in real time, I started with this last week, but there's so many ways you can use this and teach the terms. Okay, there's so many ways you can do things. So I thought I'd add on to it. So today we're looking at 8 different ways we can actually use the structured term cards and all sorts of things to help your kids learn all about structure, or it could be any of the elements of music or concepts of music. It doesn't really matter. So we will start with a screen share. Okay, let me do this. Sorry, and here we go. So as I said, I'm going to give you 8 lesson ideas for teaching structure in music. But again, any of these ideas can be applied to any of the elements of music or concepts of music. These are just general ideas that can be used for any of them, but as I said, I've just happened to be doing structure this month, and that's where I am focusing. So let's do this. So firstly, I said welcome. I'm going to give you 8 ideas for teaching structure terms. I'm going to give you some suggested resources to use, and I'm going to give you lots of tips and tricks along the way. So let's get started. So the first one is to use the term cards to play games. Now, here's these term cards that you can actually see there. All right. When I'm filming, I don't laminate them because the reflection on these, as you can sort of see behind me, it's too hard to see. So here's the actual term cards. Now, these particular ones, depends on how you want to print them. You can see, yep, that's actually a match. I just want to make sure. So you can see that this one has actually got the theme and variations, and this has actually got the definition. Now, depending on how you want to use these, and I've got a few different ways you can use them. So if you copy them out, as you can see, onto nice, pretty colored paper, and depending on if you want to do different sets or whatever else, you might do different. It's up to you how you want to print them. Now, you can either print them out and cut them separately. Now, if you do it that way, there's quite a few games you can do with the term cards separately. Or if you cut out the whole thing and then actually fold them over, and they're designed to be done like this. So if you fold them over, you would end up with the term on one side and the definition on the other. Again, different games, different things, what you want to use with them. But as I said, most of the ones I'm talking about today are actually using the term cards this way, so that there's a definition and an actual term separate. Okay, and there's lots of ways that the kids can use them this way. So, as I said, use these things to play games. Let me show you what sort of games. All right. The first one is a really, now it doesn't matter which way you do it. If you're going to do this one, which is alphabetical order, I would suggest firstly, okay, because it's non-confrontational if you just do alphabetical order, I would suggest that you get the kids to separate, give them the cards and separate the definitions on one side and all the terms on the other. And it's pretty easy to see them that, the terms are actually just single words or maybe a couple of words on them, and get them to separate the two groups and then say, all right, competition time, we're going to put them in alphabetical order. So here you go. And then you just give them, get them to actually separate and put the terms in alphabetical order. And then you can have a look at them. It's, as I said, it's non-confrontational. All it is asking them to actually engage with the term. So they're not really having to think about what do they mean or if I'm getting things right or wrong. It's more about alphabetical order, and it's best to do this in small group. Now, depending on how many students you have in your class and how many terms you are using, because you might not want to use all the terms, it's up to you. There's 21, I think, in the structure one, because that's sort of about the number of terms you need. If you've got 21 students in the class, you could actually give each kid a term and then physically get them to line up and do alphabetical, and you might say, okay, A is over this side, Z or Z is over this side, sort yourselves out. And it's fun to see how well they can actually do that. That's a really good way to do, depending again on your class, if you want it to be physical or if you want it to be just an interactive game in small groups. Again, non-confrontational, mix up your groups, really good one to do. And I like to do this one first before I do anything else, because it's just, again, getting them engaging with the actual terms and looking at what terms are actually there. Next one, memory. Again, I love playing this one. Now, I've got, in my year 12 class, for example, I've got quite a few kids who are very, very, very bright this year. Okay, amazing students. And I've also got some students who are from our inclusive education department or special ed, depending on how you want to do it, and they need a bit of support. Now, when we play memory, my kids are so beautiful with the students that need a bit more help. They will help them, and they'll go like, maybe that one you need to turn over those two, and like just to help. And yes, they match. Okay, so it doesn't matter what your ability level is, as long as you've got one person in that group who really knows what they're doing. But again, I wouldn't suggest doing memory until you've played a few other games, okay, which you might want to play the matching game, where you actually get them to match up the terms and the actual cards up first, and then do a jigsaw walk, like gallery walk, and then come back and see if they've actually got it. All right, so but memory is a fantastic one. Again, upside down, pretty easy. Put them all out and then flip them. Now, if you're going to do memory though, I suggest that you don't print it onto thin paper like this, because you can actually see through. See how you can see the light coming through that? You can see through them, so you're better off to print them onto a slightly thicker card. So this is just normal good old 80-gram paper. Okay, 80 GSM paper, this particular one, which is fine depending on the activities you want to do. Okay, another one of mine is, now I would do this one and use the cards, again, depends on how you want to do this, but my process would be do alphabetical order, do match up or memory, okay, and then once you've got that, use these sheets. Now, these sheets, printed full page, look like, I got that upside down. I do have that upside down. Okay, you can see structure in there, all right, and you've got the different terms all around. And then also, here's the other sheet. There's only two sheets, or form. Now, remember, structure and form mean the same thing, but I've deliberately done that so that they can write the definition for form in there, the definition for structure in there, and then they're supposed to do all the definitions around the outside. Now, I do this with my year 10s, okay, 9s and 10s. They've done this, my year 9s, who are now year 10, but when they were in year 9 last year, we did this, and they now have a reference thing, which I'll talk about in a minute. But they have all your information there, and then definitely get them to color it in. Now, there's a method to my madness. You can either add images or color or both. If you add an image, if you get the kids to actually add an image of what the term means to them, they'll remember it. If you get them to add color to it, they will also remember it, because they will associate a color with the actual term. Okay, so just a few different memory cues to help your kids. All right, but these are fantastic to do that. Again, it's sort of just leading them through, and it's lots of different activities to keep them going. I wouldn't suggest you do this all in one lesson. This could be over a series of lessons. Okay, the next one is to combine the term cards with the mind maps. Okay, so this is the mind map, which is all about, which has actually got all the definitions underneath it. You can see that all with them. Okay, and this is really good. So if you've got the term cards, and then you actually go, all right, well, what does theme and variations come under? It comes under type. So how many different types of structure in those cards? How many, what diagram, not everything will fit here, but what sort of words can you use? And then you might go, well, what's missing? And then you might go range, register, roll. So if you've done another element, you might go range. Well, that means, narrow, medium, or wide, or extensive range. Roll, what sort of rolls are there? Instruments can perform melody, beat, rhythmic accompaniment, melodic accompaniment, harmonic roll, bass line, all those sorts of things. Register, treble or bass, identifying the instruments, all that sort of stuff. But this is a really good way to do this. And again, I use this a lot with my kids. I give them the blank one. Okay, a blank one, not colored. I just printed out color for you guys, and then get them to do the cards around it. Okay, so again, I do that in a small group activity first, get them to put all the cards around it, and then they add those. We talk about it, and then we add the information to the mind map again, which goes into their journal at the end. Really good way to keep the information. All right. Number 6, we're rolling right along. Number 6 is again to use the mind maps and the term cards with a listening activity. So what I mean by that is give them a blank mind map, okay, which might just have the actual, like it is on the screen, not here. Okay, so you don't have these parts here, the definitions on them. Give them a piece of music to listen to and have the term cards out. And then say to them, okay, when you hear something and you think it's relevant, put it in the category around the mind map. And then get them, again, small group, it's best to do it that way. Get them to actually talk about it, okay, after the listening, give them a good chunk of time to discuss, listen to the music again, have another conversation. And then at that point, you might want to actually have a discussion with the class. Okay, what could we hear? What couldn't we hear? All those sorts of things. What can we add to it? What do we need to take away? And just confirm what they are actually writing. And again, this is another great listening activity to not only see what students know, what they know, because, you would hope that you're circulating in the classroom while they're actually doing this work, but also just to see what they're doing and how they can actually apply what they've learned into the music they're listening to. You could also obviously do this, use the mind maps with a performance piece, what sort of, relate it back to what they're doing. What performance, what structure is your performance in? What is the range and role of instruments in there? What instruments are actually in the ensemble? What's the phrasing of it? Are there any ostinatos? Again, you can relate that back to their performance as well. But again, linking all that information together. Number 7. Okay, use the cards to play mixed freeze group. This is a fun activity. Now, I like to do this one, again, with matching cards. Now, I would suggest that you look at the number of kids you have in the class that day. Okay, have the cards already pre-matched beforehand just for your own benefit. Then hand the cards out. Okay, and this is a really fun thing. This is a Kagan strategy. So if you haven't heard of them, have a look. There's lots of different things they have out there. Then you put on a piece of music. No matter what the music is, I like to put on Run DMC, Walk This Way, or a bit of Fats Domino, I'm Walking. Okay, just because get them up and moving. Now, what they're supposed to do is, doesn't matter what cards they got. They have to, as they're going past somebody, mix the cards up, swap them with somebody else in the room. And then when you stop the music, they have to freeze, and then they have to group. So then they have to actually find. So if you've got, like, one person has got the actual term theme of variations, they've got to find the actual definition for it, okay, which is not the definition there, okay, which is that one, okay. They've got to find it, okay, and make sure that they've got that. So I do that a few times. Again, it's a great activity to make sure to check for understanding, because if something's wrong, they go, well, who stuffed up here? Who's got them? Who knows? Who's confident that they're actually matching up? We're missing something here, okay? But do that a few times. Repeat it, because the idea is that they actually get to talk to one another. They get to actually check their understanding that they're matching the terms up and gets them moving. The other thing is, this is a really good one for getting kids interacting, and also for get them to do this a few times where they're talking to each other, then get them to play it silently. Okay, so have the music playing, mix, freeze the music, and then they have to find it silently. So they've got to work out how they're going to communicate silently to get the match and the pairs up in the room. Okay, and so I love doing this activity. The kids love doing it. It's a bit of fun. They're learning at the same time. It's good. It's good. Okay, and the last one is to use your one pager. Okay, which is these things, okay, as part of an Elements of Music journal. Now, this is printed what I call A3. Some of you might want to say like letter size. So if you're going to do it as a journal, I suggest that you make sure that you have kids use a big book. Now, what I've used in the past, and it's always sort of at the beginning of school, the back to school sales, they'll have something. This is just a scrapbook, okay, but the pages fit really nicely in this one. Okay, there's a bit of room around it, you can see. This is just like from here in Australia, I go to Officeworks, but I'm sure there's plenty of it. Just a scrapbook, and it's just blank pages. Okay, they're just blank pages, but they glue onto those really, really well. So I would suggest you get this. Makes a really good journal and a really good study guide then for them. So if you use the one pages with the terms and the mind maps, and you use it to pop it in here, oh my goodness, you have set the kids up for success for so many different things. It's a really, really fantastic way to do things. I said that's just a scrapbook. Oh, let me see, I've got one here that's got a different cover. I pick them up all the time. I use them a lot. I like the blank page and the size of it, okay? But again, that music journal is something they will use as a reference tool for years to come, okay? All these things combine to help your students. That's the whole idea. So looking for some resources to actually do this. This is where I can help you. So as I said, the structure, terms, and music. Now, this particular one set of worksheets is the one that has the one pages in them. Okay. And then there's also some other activities. So again, we're talking about find a words, unscramble the words. There's the code breakers, which my kids really, really like those ones. And there's also matching ones. Okay. So lots and lots of different activities. They're great for sub lessons. They're great for just cementing the learning of what your students are doing. And they're great for a lot of different abilities. So that, you know, depending on your students, and what you know your students and what ability level, they might be able to handle certain things better than others, but they're all still working on the same concepts or the same elements of music. As again, this works really well. This is for all the elements of music. You'll find these particular worksheets. They are one of my favorites, actually. I use them a lot. Obviously the term cards, which you can see here, these little thingies. Okay, I should show you some other ones. There we go. Phrasing. That's not the same. That's not the definition. Okay, for phrasing. Okay, but this says the same melody and lyrics each time. So that's going to be for a chorus as opposed to phrasing. But that's the way. And remember, you can print them and fold them and then laminate, and you've got them for years. Honestly, once you've got them and you've set them up for you will use them for years. My sets I've had for at least 10 years, at least, and they're still fine. Some of them I've had to replace, but not many. Okay, but these term cards are fantastic, and I've already talked about all the different games that you could play with them in this video. Also, the listening worksheets are best. This is best for older students, okay? But again, it comes up with the definitions. There's lots of different activities you can do in there to help you, which I'm not going to talk about the activities in that one because I'm talking about other ones today, but also the listening response worksheets are also fantastic for cementing the information and checking for understanding of what your kids can actually do and what they actually do understand. Obviously, the term cards, now I talked about this in the last video. It depends if you've watched them or not, but this is, again, this is printed four to a page. If you were doing a journal, okay, like a journal, you would need a really big one if you were going to get the kids to glue these in. They do glue in nicely, but honestly, the best thing is to get the kids actually writing. I know it's old school, but when the kids actually write, it goes in here a little bit better than if it's just read. And if they're playing games, again, they're engaging with the content and actually having to think about it, okay? But those term cards are great for display. You might want to do a write the room activity with that sort of thing as well, which is the way you could do that. So many different ways. Okay, and then obviously if you teach the concepts of music, sorry, excuse me, I left it down here. This one, okay, this is a new one in my store. When I say new, as of the time of recording, this is beginning of August. This was put in my store at the end of July. This is the concepts of music. And again, this actually has everything you need in it if you are teaching structure as the concepts of music. It's aimed mainly for years 9 and 10. I think I might actually add a few other things to it. So they actually worked really well together, but lots and lots of different things in there. And obviously you can buy the bundle and help yourself as well. Or again, if you want to really make it easy for yourself, buy the big bundle. Only have to buy it once. You've got everything you need in there to teach the elements of music. Okay, so it's the mega bundle. It's got 43 resources in there. Okay, there's so much stuff in there. There's obviously your one pages, there's the terms, there's listening worksheets, there's oh boy, I can't remember. There's so much in there. It's not funny, but there's 43 resources in there. It's a lot. So you obviously can find all these classroom resources over in my Teachers Pay Teachers store. Use the link below, or just simply go to Teachers Pay Teachers and search for Julia Teaching Resources, and you will find me quite easily. If you'd like a free copy of the Elements of Music mind maps, which are the blank ones, which you can find on my website, not these colored ones. This is a different product, okay, the colored ones, but you can find blank ones there ready to go, and then you can use the website to actually help you and do all that sort of stuff. But they're free. Go to juliajulia.com/free mind maps. And if you'd like more information about the elements of music or even the concepts of music, depending on what you're teaching, go to juliajulia.com and you'll find a stack of free information there to help you. It's set up so that it helps a lot of people. I know it does because I've got a lot of people that watch it. Okay, and thank you so much for watching. So let me stop share. So again, look, lots of things that you could do for structure, but remember these ideas can be applied to any element of music or any concept of music. The best thing is teach the terms. Like if you've watched the video last time, decide what terms you need to teach them, and then get the kids engaging with them by doing lots and lots and lots of different activities. And if you keep doing it that way, it will actually go in, and it'll help them actually not only be able to appreciate what they can hear in the music and go, oh, that's actually a theme and variations. Or, oh, that one's three composed. Oh, that one I can hear binary. There's an A section, a B section. Okay, whatever it is, we want our kids to be able to understand what they're playing, what they're listening to, and even what they're composing. Okay, all the parts of music, less elements of music goes into all those lovely things. But until next time, I'm Julia from Julia Teaching Resources, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.